Well. Good evening, everybody. I am your host on MSP Waves Radio. My name is Agrode. I'm currently witness number 11. And right now, I'm going to go change my name because I'm no longer Agrode right this second. I get to go back to my favorite old school DJ version of me. And I'm now Skanky J. So, it is phenomenal to be riding the waves with you. Thank you all for being here. It's a fun Sunday evening, 8 o'clock. We're going to have a couple big guests on. I'm expecting Angelo. Angelo represents something like 1 million YouTubians. We're going to have David Pacman on tonight. David Pacman's going to show up around 9:30, and that's pretty epic. And then we're going to have Brian Turner. Brian Turner is a weightlifter, vegan, and we'll probably talk some about his experience having acne through parts of his life and then getting rid of it. The guy's quite handsome, especially if you prefer gentlemen that are ripped like Adonis. So if that's your deal, you're probably gonna dig this dude. So that's kind of the show lineup. There's 3 big name guests today, and then sort of surrounding those guests, we're going to go invite some of the Minnow support folks. And not to say that you guys aren't big guests. I mean, you guys are amazing. You're the crew. You're home. But you also probably don't have a 1 million person audience. So I'm going to make way for these guys. In part because I got to use this whole radio thing to help drag more folks onto Steem It. That's the goal. That's the plan. That's what we're doing here. So, what else do I know? What I know is that some of you guys need to come on air with me today. You're gonna come join us. You're gonna go on air. You're gonna tell the world about your projects and what you're working on. And I'm gonna spam it out to the universe. Get something like I broke 8,000 followers. I'm at almost 8,400 followers right now. So you come on here and we're gonna tell your story. You're going to get a touch of screaming in the background. Can you girls, or not you girls, can you folks hear the baby number 2 kind of violently screaming in the background? I'll give you a second to answer that. I got a bunch of doors closed, but apparently the challenges of what markers you're allowed to use are quite significant. All good. So that's baby 2. Baby 2 is nearing bedtime. And baby 2, we like to say she's got pipes. Baby 2 has some serious pipes. So if you ever thought, wow, I would like somebody to scream at somebody for me, you could borrow some recordings of baby 2. Because he's actually quite magnificent at it. It's just a little terrifying. So, I hope you're all having a wonderful evening. I'm going to need some folks to kind of step into the MSP Waves waiting room. I suppose I could go get a song going for all of you so that we could all enjoy some kind of pleasant music while we're doing stuff. Although Clay seems like he wants to come on air, which would be great because I need my first guest. And if we could do this without a song, so I can do this in one giant take, that would be amazing. I kind of want to go post all this stuff on DTube, but the challenge with DTube, I guess, is going to be how long it can be, but also probably don't want to do 4 videos in a row because DTube is going to make me do 4 separate posts onto the block, and that doesn't look good. So I don't quite know how I'm going to do this. But anyways, if Clay is the sacrificial goat and he's ready to go, he is my lovely son. So I'm going to bring Clay on. Let's go give this a shot. So, now, Clay, how are you doing?
Pretty good. You?
I'm doing great. It's wonderful to have you on the show. For the folks that don't know, you're listening to MSP Waves Radio. This is the Minnow Mayor Town Hall. It is a town hall event where all are welcome, and sometimes we are graced by the presence of some of our moderators from the Minnow Support Project. Clay Boyne is one of the moderators that's in here, a thoughtful philosopher, a wise poet, sometimes tending towards erotic tones in some of his creations, and then and he also knows a thing or two about crypto. If I'm being honest, sometimes I have to go to him for some suggestions and help because he's good and smart and talented, and he helps me. So Clay, how are you this evening?
Pretty good, and actually the latter is kind of what I'm wanting to talk about today.
A little bit of trading? Is that what's going on here?
No, not exactly. What I actually would like to talk about is something fundamental to the Steem blockchain.
Okay.
So, we know that the top 20 witnesses basically approve hard forks, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so here's my question. Who approves what gets pulled? Like, who approves the pull requests?
I think that's still Steem it.
Okay, because I'm trying to kind of wrap my head around. Have you read Penguin Pablo's latest post?
I check his blog daily, but I guess I missed whatever post you're talking about because I didn't see something that would be like pull request worthy. I like, before you go on, he puts out a daily Steem report and talks about, like, we just broke 500,000 accounts. That's kind of fun. Apparently the sudden spike in SBD price has pulled thousands of people here, or at least thousands of accounts have been created. And he creates a nice daily Steem report. And since LUK got frustrated when the site was slow and hasn't been posting them, I'm now using Penguin Pablo. So if you're wondering what's going on with the Steem network and want some metrics, he's got a great one. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. So I was it might not be his most recent post, but I'm reading one of his posts, and basically what he's talking about is we have a pull request in for changing curation, not like the stuff that we've been talking about, but it's talking about changing the 30-minute reverse auction into a 15-minute reverse auction.
Yep.
Okay,
hold on, before you go on, do you want to... We got a lot of minnows in this audience that might not actually know what the 30-minute reverse auction is and might not know what changing it to a 15-minute would do. And then there's I did see this post. This is the one that got flagged.
Oh, yeah, it got flagged into oblivion.
Yeah. Okay, so not only that, but there's a second piece to that, which is what happens during those 15 minutes is going to be different. So
correct.
Go ahead and... If you don't, you could take this. I'm happy to field it. But what is the reverse auction, and then tell us what is the new plan within that 15 minutes.
Well, my biggest concern is that...
Hold on. Not concern. You got to start with just defining it.
Okay, basically what happens now is author rewards, if you vote before the 30 minutes, they're proportionally, like percentage-wise, they scale to where you pay the author extra.
It was a little distracting because you had some people talking in the background. So let me try a second time. Right now, if you are voting within the first 30 minutes, you actually don't get all of your curation rewards. What happens right now is that throughout that 30-minute period, starting with mostly going to the author, and then by 30 minutes, you get your full curation rewards. If you vote before 30 minutes, you actually are basically foregoing some of your curation rewards and giving them to the author instead.
Correct.
So what is the 15-minute rule going to do?
Yeah, I do apologize. It was a little noisy. Essentially, from what I've read, it's going to cut the time in half. It's still going to scale accordingly, but instead of going to the author, it's going to go back into the reward pool. Correct?
Yeah, I think that's how that works. Actually, I should, before I fully answer. Yeah, I think that the way that it works is that the portion that had been going to the author is now going to the rewards pool. That's a pretty good short line for that.
Right. So my question then becomes, why, without really getting into the whole is this or is this, a good or bad thing, I'm more curious why we can get pull requests like this processed, but then like more serious ones that actually make substantial changes, we never seem to get any kind of progress on. Like, I mean, we've been asking for a re-Steem tab for over a year now, and I mean, that's like pretty big predominant names are asking for that.
Yeah, well, that one in particular, I think it's tied into communities and the way that they're going to do communities. So, like, that one seems to be part of a bigger ecosystem question. I don't know. Like, Dracos made GoSteam.com, and he did that with Follow BTC News and Crimson Clad, and in like within 10 days of having done that, he actually had a tab up and running and working, or like the feed that was on your home screen was free of all the re-steams. So it's not that big of a technical challenge to do. I don't know why Steem hasn't done this. I'm pretty sure that there's a pull request for this. But my guess is that it's tied into some of the other things that they're looking to do for the home screen. And so it is part of a larger picture, so it gets more convoluted. Whereas pulling back the time from 30 minutes to 15 minutes is less of a big deal. It's not really tied to anything else. Most of that is just like an isolated decision. So I think that's part of why that one went through easier. But there's not, one of the things I'll share, being a top 20 witness, is that there's almost no communication between the witnesses. There's like, you have the witness channel. There's another way that we can sort of talk. I've done a couple Steem panel discussions, but there's not like regular top 20 witnesses having super detailed discussions. I mean, there are at times, but it is, my point is that it's mostly like herding cats. This is not the most organized thing I've ever been a part of. And I'm a fairly disorganized person at times. So, some of this feels like, a little bit of Steemit exerting some influence and force. Some of it, the witnesses being disorganized, and some of it like, until there's big, trending posts saying we need a hide re-Steem tag and it's a hot button issue and people are screaming at them for it. I don't know that it's going to end up being a priority. And even if it is, they're going to say this is a priority and it's tied to other stuff.
Yeah, it just seems interesting to me because, I mean, I haven't really processed what I think is going to be the net impact, because, I mean, we're going to have to see it before we can really make a determination on that. But, yeah, it's kind of loud here. But realistically, I'm just thinking we don't really get a lot of these pull requests that we want to go through, or that I see like a lot of people talk about. I mean, changing curation rewards has been a pretty big issue this entire hard fork. And then it seems like, just like the last hard fork, where we got basically a kind of half-assed solution that ended up causing other problems, we're getting the same. We're getting the same thing again. Is basically what it sounds like to me.
You know, there's other people that say that exact same thing, even amongst the witnesses, of like, you were doing one, half-assed measures, and two, they cause other problems. Like, this platform is nearly entirely about unforeseen consequences of your actions, and it is such a complicated animal. And now we're up to 500,000 accounts. Like, simple changes aren't simple, and so even if coding them is easy, like, they typically will impact something else. You know, re-Steems and hiding re-Steems, like, it does seem like there should be a button that's like blog, comments, replies, reward, hide re-Steems. And I don't understand why that would be all that difficult. But it seems like there's a strong preference to listen to the biggest whales on the platform and the like top 5 witnesses. So even being in the top 20, I feel like I get to exert some influence around here, but it is muted relative to somebody like Tim Cliff saying, okay, guys, it's time that we do this. So one of the things that we might have to do is sort of put in a coordinated campaign. If that really is going to make the difference, then we would need to sort of corral a variety of the witnesses into saying, we need it. We need it to happen.
Right. See, I mean, my thoughts are the biggest problem that we're going to run into is if we keep kind of having this, like, basically few people forcing decisions through without really listening to anyone else, we're eventually going to end up like Golos, and we're just going to have like 30 different Steem blockchains around here.
Well, actually, Cobb Maximus he's like, can't we just do this in MSP Steem or another platform? Yeah, we could just ask Netuoso to add it, because he's pretty talented, although he can be a little tricky to motivate. Once you get him motivated, he's amazing. Getting him motivated takes a little bit of work. And then the second piece of this is it was in GoSteam. That was how GoSteam looked. So it was in there. That was functional. So I know that this can be done. We probably already have the code for it somewhere. It's not like it's that hard. So yeah, like that.
Right. I mean, I really like the way Busy did it, because they still showed up in the feed, but then they were basically on a separate tab on your actual page. So, like, when somebody goes to look for your post, it basically gives them an option to look at your post as, like, their own thing, and then they can also look at you as a curator.
Yeah. No, I think that's good.
It's kind of weird to me that we can, like, something that's basically just a cosmetic change on the website seems to be a bigger hurdle than fundamentally changing how rewards work.
Yeah, I can't answer that, Clay. I mean, I think some of this is, I can't answer it. I can't tell you what the culture's like in the Steem at headquarters. I can't tell you how they make decisions, or like it seems like the things that the witnesses want and the things that the users want all get vetted by the things that somebody at Steemit says, yeah, we'll do that. And they tell us, look, if you want it, just go do it. So we could go through Utopian, drop in a task, try to get a pull request with the actual code all ready to go, and then see what happens. But you don't even have to be the coder anymore. You can just put in the task. So let me go Utopian, and I can grab a quick screenshot of this, hopefully, if I'm still signed in. Login. I'm here, contribution, and I can go click on suggestion, tutorial. Nope, I don't want this. I want task request. So I don't know, I forget where I write the task request. Plus new contribution. Somewhere in here I can submit a task. These are not, where I'm seeing it isn't what I want. But I can submit a task, and with that task I can like basically ask them to go write code for us, and we could go submit that. We just need to, like, if that's really important, we have to go get some support from other witnesses and try to round that up.
Interesting. I didn't know we could use Utopian to basically make requests like that.
Yeah, you can, although I don't know how to actually publish it. So within the contributions, I can go click on new contribution, and it's suggestion, subproject, development, bug hunting, translation, graphics, analysis, visibility, documentation, tutorials, video tutorials, and copywriting. But I don't see where I add the task. I can see where tasks have been put in here. So, yeah, I mean, I could go get Alir back on here and try to talk about this. Let me go take a quick screenshot. This won't solve all of our problems tonight, but this is my utopian, and I can go cut it to here or something, crop that, copy this, put it into chat, and on the left there, it says task request. It has the megaphone, so we could actually submit task requests and get this thing going. But
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so they say you don't have to wait for Steem or Steem it as a company to do this. Whether or not that's true, I don't really know, but that's what they're saying. So as part of saying that, okay, we can give this a shot.
Well, I mean, realistically, all of us here that know how a blockchain works really knows that in the end, if it comes down to it, we can cut them out. So hopefully they know that too.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of stake to try to cut out, but...
yeah, but it's completely unnecessary if you fork, because it takes that out of the consideration.
Yeah, I'm not at a point where I would consider forking anybody, including the single largest stakeholder, off the chain. But, I think they've gotten a lot of heat over a while now for not being as communicative or maybe responsive to the people here as we might like. And I know that they have goals and they have things that they are working on. But now we have a tool where we can just kind of take the power back and do this. And if we can get enough witnesses, we'll just freaking add it. So,
yeah, I mean, definitely, it's not like the go-to solution, but I mean, after Golos, they should know in the back of their mind that they should have some kind of incentive to be listening to the majority of their community.
All right, well, I have a show. I listen. I'm one of 20. All I can say is I'm doing my best for that.
Right. I mean, this really isn't a statement about witnesses. This is actually more of a stink statement, but
I prefer not using stink, but yeah, getting Steem and Ink to listen isn't always the easiest. I mean, I'll tell you, I'm a top 20 witness, and I don't feel like they always listen to me. So I don't know who they listen to. I know like 5 names that I'm pretty sure they listen to, but beyond that, I don't know.
I hear you. Well, I appreciate the time.
Yeah, good talk here. So you've been listening to MSP Waves Radio. I'm your host, Agrod. We were just listening to Clayboyne, who was giving us some thoughts on curation, which has been a pet project and pet peeve of his for a while, and talking about Steem It as a company and what we can do to improve this network. So thanks so much, Clayboyne.
Thank you.
All right, I'm pulling him off air, and it looks like my boy Saipan Damashi is ready to go. So, Saipan, I've pulled you into the live on air channel. Are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. How are you this evening?
I'm pretty great myself. How are you tonight?
I got in a nap. Normally, my biggest challenge in life is that I don't sleep enough. With the internet available 24/7, like I just want to stay plugged in. And that's bad for sleep. That's bad for like a million different things. Saipan's a little quiet, so let me crank you up here, buddy. So, what brings you on the show tonight? What do you? I guess I should give you a quick introduction. Saipan is I don't know. Saipan Damashi is a greeter within the Minnow Support Project. He is a consummate hustler, trying to get his posts out there, trying to get his story out there. He's bringing people online to the Steem community. He's sharing us with, I think, the veteran community, and is a solid human being and solid singer. And so we're pleased to have Saipan Damashi, or his name on Steem is Rodeo 670. Welcome to the Minnow Mayor Town Hall.
Thank you.
So what do you want to talk about tonight? What are we discussing?
So I guess my first order of business is to announce that I just passed Gate 4 for the whole MSP Waves thing. So I will be getting my own little radio show here soon.
Wow, that's exciting. Do you have a name for the show yet?
I do. I'm calling it The Dancing Dreamers with DJ Damashi.
Oh, I like this. And so what are Dancing Dreamers looking for?
It's basically going to be talking about the electronic dance music culture and lifestyle, and I'll be like interviewing people and asking them about their experiences at festivals, and what their dreams are and their goals are, because I really want to show like the human face to EDM, and so we're trying to like combat all these typical stereotypes that people have about ravers.
Yeah, aren't you guys just a bunch of MDMA chewing? What is the? Oh shit! I can't think of the word. What's the little sucker that you give babies? Pacifier.
Pacifiers.
Yeah. So it's your guys are a bunch of like MDMA abusing, pacifier sucking, glow light waving, useless, jobless troublemakers. Isn't that the truth of what your group is?
Oh, that's totally us. You totally hit the nail on the head right there.
I mean, I did some raving, so I kind of did enjoy a fair amount of those things. Never went the pacifier route, but I don't know. But I don't feel like a totally worthless human being. Just dancing to EDM is good times.
Oh, absolutely. It's always good times.
So what makes you why the passion for this in particular? Like why does it need to be EDM? Why not music, or why not reading? I mean, what is it about EDM to you, or that culture to you, that's so appealing?
So to me, I have this, strict focus and passion for EDM because of, I guess the bottom line for me, the simplest way I can describe it is EDM saved my life. Like I was working 3 jobs for like 8 months, and I was feeling super beat down, and I just didn't really want to do anything anymore with my life, and I was kind of letting myself slip a little. And when I went to EDC this past year, everything changed for me, and I saw like the goodness in humanity, and that's when I went to EDC was when I realized for myself what the true significance of this culture is, and what it does for people, and how much it heals people and reignites that spark in us.
Okay. Now this is bordering on an inappropriate question, but was that a drug-infused moment of clarity?
I am not at liberty to say.
see, this is why some of these stereotypes exist, my friend. But yeah, those, okay, so going back to this whole liberty thing, part of why I think that any of those kind of drugs are illegal are for a couple reasons, right? You have like corporate stranglehold. No, don't use your drugs or your plants or your whatever. You have to use ours. And ours are patented, and nobody else can make them, and only we can. And ours are addictive, so this is what you're going to get. But I also think that a lot of these, the hallucinogens and some of these other things end up breaking down the programming that our corporate media and that sort of voice has worked so hard to instill in us. And then like you smoke a little weed and you're like, you know what? Like we are really just all people, and we're all connected as one being. Maybe we shouldn't kill some other people. And that's not what the war machine wants you to think. So I think that some of that culture, and some of this is about, that there's some different types of expression that break down the rules that we've all been given, that actually make for a more peaceful universe. So there's some real goodness to that. I mean, I saw a video of a girl that put some acid on her eyeballs and then started having like a really bad trip, where she was basically like wigging out. So there's some negative aspects to that culture too, but somewhere in there is a healthy functional medium where, we're interacting as people, we're having a good experience, we're getting some music so that our bodies are dancing and just feeling free. And maybe doing that in a way where the norms that have been instilled upon us aren't in effect.
Exactly. It breaks down these like societal barriers that we've become kind of normalized to, basically.
Yeah. so there's lines, and I don't mean that from I'm going to regulate lines, but there's just like, this is healthy behavior and this is not. So there's clearly some people that are part of that community that go well beyond what is like a safe, healthy experience and are just like wigging out. But there's other people that seem to have a phenomenal time and help this world and make this a better place to share for all of us.
Absolutely. I mean, my first go, because this is like my second time kind of inserting myself into this whole EDM scene. The first time I went, it was right after I just gone out of the military, and everything was kind of imploding on me. And so in those days, yes, I was using it as an escape, and I was one of those people who kind of just went there and just used it as an escape to go hard and completely forget about everything else. So I feel like now coming back to it and having this kind of more like mature and smarter mindset towards it, if I can try to get this particular message out about EDM, then maybe some of those kids who are of that mindset of just going hard and partying and forgetting about everything else can see that that's not what it's all about. Because I can tell you right now, if somebody had shown me what I discovered this year back then, I would have been on a completely different path, and I never would have, thought that was all there was to EDM, was just to party and forget about everything.
So what is that other part that is so drawing to you? Is it particular people? Is it a culture? Is it is it just the music? I mean, what is it that's sort of gripped you this hard?
So I'm about to sound like super like new agey mystical status over here, but the people I have been meeting since I've started going to these events again, it's just the kind of connections I've been making with people have just completely blown my mind. Because I met, for instance, just one brief example, one of my friends that I met at EDC, he and I met up again at Global Dance Festival a month later, and one of his friends flew in, and when he got to the hotel, he saw that I had this Guam EDM ambassador pin on my thing, and he started freaking out, and he was like, "Oh my god, dude, are you from Guam?" And I was like, "No, but like I'm from Saipan." And he was like, "Oh, dude, that's so crazy. I'm from Guam." And so we like had this crazy, insane connection, and we were both just like, "What are the odds that I would have met Ronnie at EDC, and we would have both ended up here at Global, where you, his friend who is from Guam, comes in and flies in, and we meet each other like that."
Well, it's a small world after all.
Indeed. And Sunravel Me is asking, EDC equals Electric Daisy Carnival. Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't think there's any daisies. Maybe there's lots of daisies. What do I know?
There's an overabundance of daisies.
All right. So what else do we need to talk about? What time is the show going to be? When are you doing this?
I've requested the time slot right after main event, so it'll be Wednesday nights. From I think it's 5 to 7 Mountain Standard Time.
Wednesday nights, 5 to 7. All right. Well, we haven't had a lot of. We haven't had a show for many of our Wednesday nights, so this is good. And if it's an EDM show, then maybe I'll get some work done at that time. So I'm on board. This sounds like fun.
Sweet.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I will try to be on and be a good listener for you guys, and sounds awesome.
Thank you. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is I recently hit 500 followers on Steem, and that's like a huge accomplishment in my book. So I decided to hold like this contest thing, and it's kind of my attempt to get people's stories out about how being on the Steem blockchain and getting involved in cryptocurrencies has changed their life. So it's a contest asking people to share their stories about that and to inspire readers into at least looking into Steem, basically.
That sounds pretty awesome. All right. Well, check. Why don't you put that post into chat here, and that way people can go see it and consider hopping into that contest.
All right.
All right. Well, you were listening to Saipan Damashi. He goes by Rodeo 670, and it's great to have him here. It's great to be on air. It's great to have him as a greeter, and I'm looking forward to just working with you more and seeing how we all progress as a team. And thank you for your work. Thanks for greeting people. Hopefully, you'll continue to do so and do so with as much vigor as you do post hustling. And I don't know, you're great.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
you're great too, Agrod, and so is everybody else here at MSP. I appreciate all of you guys so much.
Yeah, we got good people in here. All right, you're listening to MSP Waves Radio. I am your host, Skanky J, and next up, I have the extreme pleasure of bringing on one of the co-founders of the Minnow Support Project and the Peace, Abundance, and Liberty Network. You might recognize his phenomenal and sexy French accent, a resident Canadian, and a great bringer of peace, kindness, and wonderfulness into the world himself. I'm proud to present to you on air Team Steem. Team Steem, are you there?
Yeah, sure, I'm here. How are you? How are you, Aggie?
Look at that energy. Oh, you just feel... I got like a second wind just from having heard that. It is wonderful to have you here, Team Steem. How are you?
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, man, and I'm glad to cheer you up. I hope everyone is having a great time. I'm sure having a great time. Life is awesome, and yeah, I hope it's awesome for all of you guys too. So I missed the first part of the show, but I'm happy to be here.
So what's got you so excited? What are you happy about? What are you stoked about? What are you seeing in the world that's good?
Life. I'm happy about life. The mystery of life. I don't know what it is. The reality, but it's awesome. And even though we go through some hardships sometimes. It's part of life, but I'm just eye on life. That's all. Go ahead, man.
No, there's some comments in here that you're competing with Cubby Elizabeth for just how enthusiastic you are, and that's fantastic. It's great to have. I'm always feeling a little beat down because I have my full-time job, I have a wife, I have 2 kids, I own a house, I do this, a series of shows, I run this big project, I'm now getting enough money into crypto that now I'm trying to do investment, and now between all those things, it's like I'm only sleeping 6 hours a day, and I'm always just a little more tired than I ought to be. And I hear your enthusiasm, and I hear that energy, and I hear it out of Cubby, and it literally is a breath of fresh air and a breath of energy into my life. So thank you for that.
Yes, I'm glad to hear this, and you're cheering me up also, Aggie, man. You're a great leader, and I mean this. And I'm super happy to be compared to Cubby because that's obviously an honor.
She is a lovely human being. There are many lovely human beings in the world. Cubby is easily one of my favorites. Just so much energy, so much enthusiasm, and so much breath of life. How can you not just look at this human being in awe with anything other than just love and adoration? She's great.
Yeah, I think we attracted the right person. I think the people that were ready for Steem are here, and I think we're leading the way. One of the thing I want to share is a simple thing. Is to be kind to one another and do the extra step to make people feel awesome. And I think you're doing great at this, Aggie. By the way you present people, and you make people feel awesome, and so I'm grateful for this, and I'm grateful for the Minnow support project, and I'm grateful to be here, and as always, I look forward to a better future.
So the future that I wrote about it this week. I'm wondering where you fall on this. I think the great nation states of the world all sort of have their final resting powers existing in the ability to print money out of thin air. And in the grand scheme of things, one of my favorite aspects about cryptos is that it puts that printing power back in a distributed landscape for all of us to have access to. And now that it's so much open source technology out here, I don't think that we're ever going to put the genie back into this bottle. And, we're still small. We're not yet $1 trillion industry, but we're getting there. We're up at like 500 billion with Bitcoin being at the $20,000 mark. But I actually think in my lifetime, because the great nation states rely on the printing press to keep their activities going, I think we are going to see the end of the nation state in my lifetime. And the number one thing that will cause the undoing of these great and oftentimes violent powers is that we will take away their simple ability to print money out of thin air and use it primarily for nefarious reasons. How does that fit with what you think? Are we going to have giant states and borders and all of that by the time that you and I die in our 50, 60 years from now? Or do you think that it's going to stick around and it'll be our kids and our grandkids and our great grandkids will still be in this system?
Well, I sure do hope that there will be 7 billion governments, so everyone will be their own governments. Yeah, I think money plays a big role. I've talked about it since the beginning, and but money is just a part of it. We need to in each of our action that our day-to-day life, we need to be kinder to one another, and that's what I want to bring back. Just smile to stranger and do the extra step and letting people know that you want to make them feel awesome. And so yeah, I do think money, this revolution that we're seeing in cryptocurrency is a good thing, and I see the possibility for the countries to go to shrivel or towards more decentralized way of governance. And so I see this. I see, some people talk about the time that is accelerating, technology is accelerating at a faster pace. So I see this, I hope so. But there's people in need today, there's people living in horrible condition, and so we need to do our best. We need to cultivate the right thinking and do our best. And I think that the Minnow support group is doing awesome at giving ourselves a mutual help. And same for Steem. I think Steem is a big part of this revolution that we're seeing.
Yeah, so people aren't always fans of Steem and how Steem is performing, but we just crossed into the top 2,000 websites on Alexa. Our token is up in value. We have 3-second transactions and they're free. There's a lot that's going for this place. And there's no other cryptocurrency no other cryptocurrency can talk about like we're in the top 2,000 websites. No one, not any of them. So I feel like we are in a unique position, and I also think we have to be one of the most undervalued blockchains around, in that like we are oftentimes the highest activity platform, and we compete with like Bitcoin and Ethereum for that spot. But we are obviously, 1,000 times undervalued compared to them or more, while we have a more active community than either of those groups. And if I can talk a little trash here, it's like, we're also not going to be brought down by some crypto kitties. I mean, we have the room to expand what we're doing 300 times without breaking a sweat, without any kind of technological change. We could do that. Well, Lexiconical, we are technically inflationary, but it's so small of an inflation relative to everything else that's out there. I mean, we are, we are practically deflationary, especially compared to other governments. But, 10% inflation is a pretty small amount. So, all right. So what else have we got? Team, anything else? What else would you want to share? What else do you want the world to know?
I feel honored to be able to put words into the brain of so many people, and I think it's important. It's an important responsibility. The media abuse this responsibility or use it to nefarious means, and so we need to redress this and use the power of the words to bring positive change in this world.
Well, we get to do that a little bit every single day through MSP Waves Radio. Feels pretty good, and it's great to have you on the show. So thank you for coming on, Team Steem.
Thanks. I'll be back more often.
I'd love that. You are welcome here every single time that we run the show. And then I have to go yell at the audience and say, hey, audience, we're going to have some more open spots here. David's going to come at 9:30. I'm expecting Brian Turner here, although I don't know exactly what time he'll be here. And then I'm also expecting Angelo from They Will Kill You, who actually has the name They Will Kill You, which is sort of fun. But we can go take on another person if somebody else would like to promote their show. So I'm gonna drag Team Steem off here. And maybe what I'll do, maybe I'll go play a song and we can go do the first round. I'm going to do 50 Steem for dice tonight. So maybe I'll go do the first round of dice. So let me stop the recording.